afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Stock Market Today. You have Alyssa Corum here. I am joined by Ken Shreve, and we are going to be taking a look at the major indexes. Saw some gains across the board. We'll take a look at the NASDAQ, but first, Ken, give us a preview of the couple of stocks we're going to be, peeling back the surface and taking a look at today.
Okay, well, we've got one bad news and two good news. So the bad news, we're going to take a look at Meritage Homes, a tough day for home builders today, but we're going to also take a look at solid performances for Unity Software and a chip equipment firm, Monolithic Power, that is holding gains nicely.
All right, but first, a look at the major indexes here. We have the NASDAQ, a nice upside reversal, closing up about 0.2% for the day, while the S&P 500 and Dow closed up about 0.5% each. So really nice to see the NASDAQ finding support at this 21-day line and holding above the 50-day.
Yeah, I mean, the NASDAQ was really strengthening late in the session, and then some selling came in and knocked it down, but it managed to gain, I think, like you said, of about 0.2%. So it looks like a close in the upper half of the range. I mentioned a tough day for home builders. That 10-year Treasury yield keeps rising. I think it's up 5 or 6 straight sessions now. So tough day for home builders, and growth stocks under some pressure today as well.
That's right. But speaking of, let's take a look at Meritage Homes. Not a good day. Really logging a string of losses before today, undercutting the 50-day yesterday, and just really diving even further below that level today. What do you make of what happened?
Well, I mean, this is definitely a sell signal. So for those who bought maybe when it broke out over the 80 level back around in the summertime around June, yeah, right in that area, this is an unequivocal sell signal for those who bought at that buy point. I mean, you can choose to be a long-term investor, or you can recognize sell signals when they arise. You can see the volume that came behind today's decline. It was also a tough day for home builders yesterday too. But again, the home builders tend to move on that 10-year Treasury yield. If the 10-year Treasury yield starts rising and there's a perception of higher interest rates down the line, that is typically going to cause selling in the home building group.
That's right. I totally agree with you about following sell signals, because there are so many examples time and again of why it's not a good idea to hold and hope. You may get lucky with that strategy, but it's better to just cut your losses, get out, and move that money somewhere else.
Yeah, I mean, this one at the very least looks like it's ready to base for a little while, and but while that's happening, there's no need to just sit on dead money. Just take the gain and put money to work elsewhere and stocks that are acting much better.
That's right. And where are we going next, Ken? Are we going to Chipotle or are we going to Unity?
Let's go to Chipotle.
Okay, let's check in on CMG, rallying off of its lows today, Ken, closing down still about 5%, but not as bad as it looked earlier in the session, finding support at its 50-day line. Now, it did report an earnings decline of 2%, sales up 14% though, but just investors weren't fully impressed with what they saw with the report.
Obviously, still a tough overall environment for restaurant stocks, but companies that have been investing in digital, names like Chipotle, Wingstop, even Domino's, they're seeing pretty decent top line growth still. But Chipotle is an example today of how a stock can trade lower and suffer a meaningful percentage decline, but actually show signs that buyers were in the stock. So you can see how the stock broke below the 50-day moving average, and then it rallied and closed all the way up near its high for the session. So, yeah, the stock's still down almost 5%, but making a stand at the 50-day moving average. This is a high-quality name. On IBD Live, I've talked a lot about Brian Nickel, the new CEO there, who was hired earlier this year. He was formerly the CEO at Taco Bell. So Chipotle still has a lot of new going on. It's got a new CEO. It's adapting to new industry industry conditions. But the problem today, investors worried about higher costs for delivery. But overall, most of the numbers were pretty darn good.
All right. And forward-looking estimates still strong. So we'll have to see how that all shakes out. And next, let's quickly take a look at a relatively recent IPO, Unity Software. That relative strength line hitting a new high today. The stock closing above the 100 price level. It's nearing this IPO base entry at 102.73. And perhaps aggressive investors did a little nibbling today.
It was pretty. I was talking with Ed Carson how uncanny it was. All these new issues and all these recent IPOs were among the day's most outstanding performers. Snowflake, ticker SNOW. Maybe we can look at Snowflake after Unity. But yeah, Unity made a huge gain today. This is an IPO base. It's a breakout candidate. It's volatile, but they have a very interesting business. They provide a real-time 3D video game development platform. So I think this is not too many people that do what Unity does, and a bullish gain today could be poised for a breakout from an IPO base, and a lot of recent IPOs did very well today.
Yeah, and we have the traditional entry here. Maybe investors sneaking in over 100, or if you're really aggressive, maybe you looked at that downward sloping trend line. But we know that IPOs can be either feast or famine, sometimes a little volatile, but boy, when they do move, they really move. And we'll just quickly look at Snowflake while we're here.
Yeah,
A very
bonus
strong
stock.
day
Hey, four
for this
stocks
stock
instead
as
of three.
well. Yeah, there
Yeah,
we
so
go.
again, Snowflake, I mean, a monster move here too, almost 10%. Again, obviously some buyers in the stock today. I'd call today an aggressive entry, but this is another example of an IPO base. You can see resistance up around its recent high of 320, but it was uncanny seeing a lot of these high-flying new issues really outperforming today, even though the Nasdaq could only manage a
Mhm.
meager gain.
Yeah, it is interesting. And we've been talking about all of these IPO stocks and more over on IBD Live every morning, our daily morning live stream. Our experts are sharing their screens. We're talking about actionable stocks, and we're also talking about overall market conditions. Like with what we had today, how are growth stocks acting? And it's always interesting, always something new. And now we're in earnings season, so there's really a lot of stuff to talk about, Ken.
Oh yeah, oh no doubt about it. And I'm working on the earnings preview column now, and I think there are four FANG stocks that are all reporting earnings on Thursday next week. So next week will be, the pivotal
Hmm.
week on earnings. I think it's been overall a pretty darn good earnings season so far. And as far as the broad market, technically, I think the market is still hanging in there. Good to see gains in the
Hmm.
major averages today, holding support at the 50-day moving average. So we get a stimulus deal, and that could be a nice catalyst.
Yeah, tomorrow it seems like it could be a pretty key day either which way. So we're definitely going to be looking at everything very closely. So make sure you join us over on IBD Live, investors.com/IBD Live, and right back here tomorrow for your end of week analysis and battle plan for the week ahead as we inch closer and closer to election day, and a lot of still pretty big catalysts out there in terms of market moving headlines. But IBD is the place to get all the information that you need on how to handle your portfolio. All right, everyone, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you right back here tomorrow.